The solution is not an external game. The solution is not to continue to accumulate things or continue to climb the corporate ladder or whatever it is, or find more and more relationships, more people that will keep validating you. That's not the solution. The solution is to stop playing that game altogether. Welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Justin, and on this channel, I'm dedicated to bringing you the highest quality content when it comes to healing, self-transformation, and expansion so that you can live life at the highest level. Now, in today's video, we're going to be talking about how to be 100% whole and complete. Now, it's going to be a thorough guide so that you can have that very strong foundation of being whole and complete and grounded within yourself, so that you're not seeking it from other people and relationships and life and career, and you can just live life at the best level possible. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. Okay, so the first tip that I have for you is to make your healing a priority. What this means is you put on your oxygen mask before anything or anyone else. Now, if you haven't done this work, this might sound kind of selfish, and I'm going to get into why it's actually not selfish, but you have to make this a priority. You have to make sure the healing of the inner wounds, the past wounds, the emotional pain, whatever you've dealt with or are currently dealing with, you have to make it a priority to deal with that first before anything else. And it's not to say that you drop everything else and that you don't do anything else in your life or work your career or anything like that. It doesn't mean that. It means that while you're doing everything else, you place just as much importance on your healing than you do everything else, because the healing, letting go of what's keeping you from feeling whole and complete within yourself, that is the most important thing you can do, because it's going to affect everything else in your life. It's going to affect your relationships, your health, your career, your finances. And when you don't make this a priority, what happens is you look externally to seek for that feeling of feeling complete and whole within yourself. So your life starts becoming about going out there and looking to the external world to validate you, instead of you feeling that sense of being grounded within wholeness in yourself. Then when you start doing this work and making this work a priority, making the healing a priority, what happens is you go about life not needing anything from it. You go and you interact with life from a place of love, joy, excitement, and passion, not because you need certain people or certain events or certain things or even possessions to make you feel whole. So why it's not selfish to put yourself first, to place your healing first as a priority, is because if you don't do that, you're not only doing yourself a disservice, but you're doing the world and everyone else a disservice, because you're not showing up as your whole, complete self. If you're giving your family your unhealed self, if you're giving your job and your career your unhealed self that's seeking for validation, if you're hiding your gifts from the world because you're not doing the work to heal yourself, that's a disservice. So by placing yourself first, by doing the work, by doing the healing that you need to do, making that a priority, you show up in life as your best self. And when you show up in your life as your best self, it's not only good for you because you feel amazing and you're living life at this really high level, but you're giving your family your best self, your spouse and your kids your best self. You're giving it your all in your work, and you're passionate about life. And if you do feel a sense of guilt around placing your well-being first, that's okay. Explore that. Be with it. It's there to tell you something. You can trace it back to a belief that you're holding on to, or something from your past that's telling you that you're not good enough to make yourself a priority. So completely normal, but don't make it normal. Don't normalize that feeling of guilt. I've been there. Make yourself a priority. Make your healing a priority for yourself and for the world at large. The second tip I have for you is that the work is within. So what I mean by that is, as long as you keep playing this game of trying to accomplish things in the external world to feel whole, then you will never win. you will never truly feel whole. The solution is not an external game. The solution is not to continue to accumulate things or continue to climb the corporate ladder or whatever it is, or find more and more relationships, more people that will keep validating you. That's not the solution. The solution is to stop playing that game altogether. Stop playing the game of seeking for external validation and acceptance outside of yourself, and start going within. The work is always within. If you want your wholeness to be unconditional, then the work is within. You must go inside. It's an internal game. Anything that depends on the external world will be conditional. And that's not to say that you don't make an interdependent relationship where you receive validation when you want, but you don't depend on it. You have this sense of wholeness and this foundation of completeness within yourself first. In our society, we have been so programmed to seek for external validation that we need to reteach our mind and our body that that's not the game we're playing. So when you see your mind and your body unconsciously seeking for that external validation, that external something to tell you that you're whole, realize that you're just living out your programming, and don't judge it, don't hate it, don't dislike it. It's just programming, it's neutral, and just steer it within, and you start playing the game within. And don't worry if you're wondering, Justin, okay, what do I do within? The rest of this video, we're gonna cover exactly what to do when you start going within. So stick with me for a few more tips. Before we move on, if you are liking this video so far, please take 2 seconds to support me and my channel by giving this video a thumbs up and hitting the subscribe button. That will help me out a lot. Thank you. And let's move on to the next part of the video. The next tip I have for you is letting go of what's getting in the way. So this means that we are actually operating from a paradigm where we truly are already 100% whole and complete within ourselves now. We always have been. But the problem is that there's stuff that has kept us from feeling that way. So there's nothing that we actually have to do, because again, if we seek externally, then our wholeness becomes conditional. But what we have to do is get rid of the junk, the past wounds, the trauma, whatever you want to call it, that's kept us from realizing our total wholeness and completeness. And so what happens is this game is a game of subtraction, not addition. We're not adding more things, more layers to make us feel good. Because again, we'll never feel that 100% wholeness if we play that game. But the idea is to subtract everything, every little thing that's kept us in our way, our wounds, programming. We gain more by subtraction, not addition. And so I want you to understand this concept fully and start operating from this place and this paradigm. The work is to start figuring out what's stopping us from feeling whole already. Your job is to be a detective. And this is what I'm talking about when we're talking about the internal work. It's to go within, be 100% honest and vulnerable with yourself, because it's the only way that this is going to work. And start asking yourself questions. To get the most out of it, I really recommend journaling if you can, but you can also do this just mentally in your head. But see, here's some questions you can ask yourself. Why do I feel like I'm not whole? What parts of me feel unworthy? What happened in the past that caused me to feel not good enough? Once you've identified what's going on, then your job, your priority is, and this is going back to tip number 1, make this a priority, is to actively work on healing and letting go of this thing, of this belief, of this past, or this trauma, whatever it is that you need to process, do it with love, don't judge yourself, and actively work on letting it go. Now, I don't want to get too deep into letting go of trapped emotions and your past wounds on this video, because I have done a bunch of other videos on it, but I've also created a very nice, quick and powerful PDF that's yours for free if you want to download it. I'll put the link in the description box below to download it. And it goes through a very powerful 3-step technique that I personally use to heal some of my deepest pain and past wounds that I was holding on to for my whole life. It's very powerful. So if you need a guide to show you how to start letting go of these things that are starting to come up, I really recommend downloading that. Again, it's for free and it's in the description box below. All right, and my next tip for you is focus on the feeling. So now that we've actively started working on letting go of the parts of us that have told us that we're not enough and we're not worthy or whole, or we need something outside of ourselves to feel that way, now our work is to teach our body and our mind how it does feel to feel whole, how it does feel to be 100% complete within yourself. For many of us, and this was me included, this is a complete new feeling. We have never felt this for a majority of our life. And that's okay, because with practice, you can work on it and make it stronger. When you just start, maybe this feeling is very weak. It's not that big or strong of a feeling, but the more consistent you are, the more you practice feeling whole and complete within yourself, the stronger and stronger it will become, until one day, especially if you're coupling this with letting go of your past pain, one day this is going to be your natural state, which it already is there's just stuff in the way. So you start vibrating from this place of being 100% whole and complete without needing things from the external world. And again, you can still receive, but it's not your foundation. Now, I'll give you a practice here that you can use if you have no idea how to start. My recommendation is to make this a practice at least once a day. If you can do it twice a day, even better, in the morning and in the evening. So once when you have just woken up and right before you go to sleep. Those are very, very powerful times to influence your subconscious mind. So the practice is to close your eyes, take a few long, deep breaths to calm your mind, calm your body. Put your hand on your heart and you have your eyes closed. And you start imagining, what does it feel like to feel whole and complete within myself? What does it feel like to have all my needs ever met? What does completeness feel like? What would it feel like to no longer need anything from anyone else? You want to cultivate this feeling, and once you have this sense of wholeness, of completeness that's starting to emerge, sink into it and double it, triple it, quadruple the feeling until you feel it taking over your whole body, and linger there as long as you can. And the more you do this, the stronger this feeling will become. Be consistent with it. Do it at least once a day, if not twice a day. And you will see massive, massive changes in your emotional well-being. You will stop feeling unworthy and incomplete, and you'll start feeling your true, powerful self, which is already whole and complete, and it always has been. My last tip for you today is to be consistent. Again, make this a practice, make this a growth and healing journey that you're on, and keep moving forward. Yes, you will have setbacks, and of course that happens, but as long as you keep moving forward, I guarantee you will see some results from this kind of work. So make sure that you're making your healing a priority, that you are going within to do this kind of work internally, that you are letting go actively of what's getting in the way of you being whole and complete, because again, you already are whole and complete. And start practicing that feeling within, and magnify that feeling of feeling whole and complete so your body knows what it feels like. Now here's a bonus tip for you. Each time you do this work, each time you sit down to practice your healing practices, give yourself a little internal reward. Give yourself a sense of fulfillment and satisfaction, and being proud of yourself, because yes, it feels good, but actually there's been tons of scientific studies that have shown that when you do this, when you reward the pursuit instead of the end goal, when you reward the pursuit, when you're in pursuit of the goal, in the moment when you're doing the work and you're rewarding that, you increase your dopamine levels, you increase your motivation, and you become happier and more driven towards your goal. If you do this work every day, if you follow the steps in this video, I guarantee you will see massive change. So I really wish you the best of luck with your healing and your personal growth journey. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you got some really good value from this video. If you enjoyed this video, then continue to keep watching the next video that's coming up over here. I'm sure you're going to enjoy that one as well. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.